Hola a todos! In this lesson, we are going to talk about E to IE stem change verbs. So what I want to do first is to just review how to conjugate regular verbs. An example of a regular verb, this one happens to be an ER verb, is comer. Comer means to eat. So comer on its own just means to eat. If I want to say I eat, I say yo como. The ending is O. So I dropped the ER, right? That means that this part is what we consider the stem of the verb. The COM, that part of the verb comer, COM, is the stem. That means that that part doesn't change. So when we conjugate these verbs, we know that all of them are going to include COM. That's the stem, and it remains with the verb even in its different forms. So we drop the ER and add the ending. In the yo form of a regular verb in present tense, the ending is O. So como, the regular ending of an ER verb in present tense is ES for tú. Tú comes. Él, ella, usted come. The ending is I. Nosotros comemos. The ending is hemos. This is for an ER verb. It's not always the same. It's not the same with an AR verb or an IR verb in this case anyway. And comen. So those are the endings for a regular ER verb. Let's do a regular IR verb and a regular AR verb just to make sure that everybody feels comfortable with the endings of regular verbs in present tense. We've learned all this before, you've practiced this a ton, but sometimes it's good to do a review. So let's do vivir. This is a regular IR verb. It means to live. The ending that gets dropped since it's an IR verb is IR, which leaves the root of the verb vive. So all of them are going to include vive. And the endings are very similar to the ER verb except in one case. So we have vivo, vives, ella vive, nosotros vivimos. For the ER verb, it was hemos, so instead of an I, there was an E there. And then ustedes viven. So those are the endings for the regular IR verb. You might take notes if you feel like this is something that you don't remember very well. You need to take notes if it's something you don't remember. But if you do remember, you can just watch. And remember, it's a video, so you can pause it if you need to take notes. Okay, let's real quick do a regular AR verb. Let's do hablar. Okay, hablar is to talk, right? It's an AR verb, so the ending is AR. That's what we're going to drop, leaving the stem habla. So we know all of them are going to have habla. Okay, the ending for AR verbs, hablo, hablas, habla, hablamos, hablan. It's similar with the AR, ER, and IR verbs, but they are a little different. So, yo hablo, tú hablas, él habla, nosotros hablamos, ellos hablan. Okay. All right, so what are we learning today? Stem change verbs. So they're very similar to these verbs in their conjugations, but there's one little factor that's going to change. So let's start with the verb that we've already seen, and you've already learned this, and that is the verb querer. We learned querer separately because it's so common that it's good to know before you get to this point. So querer means to want. That's why it's common. People like to talk about what they want. So here we go. We've got the ending, which is er. It's an er verb, which leaves the stem quer. Q-U-E-R. Now I'm going to change what I'm doing, but I just want you to see the pattern relative to what we looked at with the regular verbs a second ago. We did 3 regular verbs. Okay, what we can do with this stem, we can go to nosotros. The nosotros form is regular. So we add hemos and we're good, just like with the regular verbs. But with all the other forms, which happen to form a boot shape, if you need help remembering which ones change, all the other forms, this E changes to IE. That's why it's called E to IE, stem change verb, because the stem changes from E to IE. So all we have to do is add an I, and then we can add our ending, quiero. Add an I, quieres. Add an I, quiere. Add an I, quieren. That's all it is. So let's do a few more examples so that you can see. All of these stem change verbs that we're learning have the same pattern in the sense that the nosotros form does not have the stem change. The rest of the forms do, so it forms that boot shape if you like to do charts. Let's do another. Tener is one that's really common, but it also has an irregular yo form. So let's do tener real quick. Tener isn't in the lesson because we've already learned it as just a straight up irregular go verb, but it has a stem change in all of them except nosotros, and then the yo is irregular, extra irregular. So the ending is er, we have ten. So we can go straight to nosotros and put tenemos. It's nothing different from the regular verbs in the nosotros form. We know that in the yo form it's just tengo. That's something we just have to memorize, yo tengo. And we've already learned that. Okay, so let's see. Let's just write in the ten, even though we know we have to add an I. Ten. Okay. Needs to change from an E to an IE, so we add an I. Tienes, tiene, tienen. That's it. And I want to do one more, just one that's from the verbs that we're studying right now. So let's do empezar. Empezar. Let's do two more. I know it's kind of a long video, but it will be good for you to be able to see more examples. Empezar means to begin. Comenzar is a synonym. It also means to begin, and it's also a stem change verb. So you can do empezar, comenzar. You're going to end up with this issue. So the ending is AR. The stem is empez. So we can go to nosotros. Empez. That's the stem. And then it's an AR verb, so empezamos. That's good. Okay, then we have the stem change one, so let's put empez, but leave a little space because we know something's going to happen. Oops, I almost did it automatically. Oopsie. Okay. So we have the I, empiezo. Empieces. This was a bad example because the Z has to change to a C. But that's just something you need to write in your notes. So empieces. Anytime this, what comes after a Z, if it's supposed to make a sound, if it's followed by an E, you have to change the Z to a C. That's why I didn't have to change it up here because it was followed by an O. Okay, empiece. and empiecen. Okay, so there's a bunch of examples. I'm going to put a chart of more examples below this video. So I highly recommend that you just make a chart for each of the verbs in the Quizlet at the bottom of this lesson. Those are all the verbs from the book. I think you can also just turn to page 209 and find all the E to IE stem change verbs. Make charts just like that with the boot. Practice with all of them. And the chart that I'm posting hopefully will help you with any that you're not sure about. Some of them have more than one E, so you might need to check the chart. The best example I can think of is preferir. I'll just tell you right now. If you look at preferir, you'll go, okay, it's an IR verb, so the ending is IR. That's what we're going to drop, and that leaves the stem prefer. So you'll look at these two E's and go, which one is the one that changes to an IE? It's this one. It's the second one. For example, yo prefiero. Okay? Tú prefieres. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. If you can remember the conjugations of a regular ER, AR, and IR verb, the stem change should not be too difficult. And for you to know, they only occur in ER and IR verbs. Okay? Please connect or contact me if you need more help. And if not, there will be some practice for you to do for tomorrow's lesson. Okay? Adios. Ciao.